deck Rosewater encourages players to commit crimes. You heard it here first, folks. Welcome back to the MTG Rundown.
Absolutely. I'm probably just going to hop right into it. Probably one of my favorite non-keyword abilities I've seen. Like, if they're going to keep doing this, I do like reading your card if you've committed a crime. I do feel, though, if you haven't heard, to commit a crime in Magic the Gathering is to target your opponent or one of your opponent's things. I feel like the threshold should be a little bit harsher than that, because like I feel like that's just like jaywalking levels of crime committing. Like I feel like I should at least have to destroy something or deal damage to something. Just targeting feels a little light to me. But I do think it's going to be a cool mechanic.
I do enjoy that he had to further then clarify that literal actual crimes do not count. Please do not bring your arrest record to pre-release.
I mean, I think you should get bonus points if you do.
It was now. Moving on into the actual news.
Right. So, shakeups in Modern, as Violent Outburst is banned, which nobody saw coming ever. Honestly, I think that it took way too long. Everybody's known that Violent Outburst and Violent Outburst specifically, instant speed, end of your turn, cascade effects are silly, especially whenever Wizards keeps printing cards that have 0 CMC. Specifically, this was targeted, obviously, at Crashing Footfalls to target that deck, which it needed, because, like, turn 2, end of your turn, I have 2 4/4 tramples is really rough. Even in a format where you do have stuff like Solitude and other shenanigans, like 3 mana, 8/8 trample across 2 bodies is really, really rough.
Yeah, it was kind of amusing that the Modern Horizons 2 card that got banned was keeping the Modern Horizons 1 card
right in check.
Yep.
Exactly. But I do think that it's going to be good as a whole for the format, because anytime, nobody likes to see it whenever you look at like Star City Games and you go look at a Modern event and it's like 6 of the top 8 decks are this one Teamer Cascade deck. Yeah. Nobody really likes seeing that. Yeah. It makes for a boring format. Yeah. And Modern has so much playroom, so much like innovation space for like decks you can play. To see it stifled out by just one deck dominating, I'm glad to see it gone. Yeah. Because without Violent Outburst, the deck's just not as good at all.
Yep.
Because like you play it on your turn, you have 2 5/4 haste tramplers. You play it on your opponent's end step, and now they have to deal with these bodies that can swing. Like it's ridiculous. Like they swing into you and you blow them out by Violent Outbursting, and now you have 2 5/4 blockers.
Yep. Yeah, and,
like it was way too good in way too many situations.
Yep. As people already pointed out, that like they still have Argent Plea at the same CMC.
Right.
But it now pushes them to white, which they weren't already in before.
Right.
As well as like the big issue with it being that Violent Outburst was instant speed.
Yeah.
Specifically.
I feel like the instant speed was the biggest offender. If Violent Outburst was a sorcery, it obviously would have still been a problem, because Cascade will always be a problem mechanic. But outside of that, it would have been a much less stressful deck to play against, because they can't, in response to you playing the game, punish you with 2 bodies.
Yep. Someone else pointed out that like the other upside to it being that you can Violent Outburst on your opponent's end step, and now you have access to what is it? Force of Denial? Not Force of Denial.
Oh yeah, the
Force of Negation. There we go.
Force of Negation.
And you're able to call a Force of Negation because it's still your opponent's turn, so you have the discounted casting cost.
You get to back up your free spell with your other free spell, and it's Legacy all over again, baby.
Yep. Moving on past the BNR announcement. Oh, sorry. Before we move on past BNR, the only other shakeup was Ponder is now unrestricted in Vintage, which...
To all 1,000 of you Vintage players, I'm sure a lot of you care about that very deeply. However, sure.
Yeah.
They are, like, in a format where you get to run Ancestral Recall and Brainstorm and all of the other really good 1 blue mana, look at the top, whatever billion cards of your deck and rearrange them, shuffle them, do whatever you want with them. Sure, they can have 4 copies of Ponder. Like, I don't care. Like, you're playing Black Lotus. Ponder's the least of my concerns.
I think they made the note in the BNR announcement that the only deck that would want to play Ponder is the blue Lurrus decks, and they don't play Ponder.
Exactly. I think that's one of those things where, like, if somebody was looking to get into Vintage, it's like, oh, well, let me see the restrict. Like, you'd see Ponder, and you would be genuinely awestruck to see Ancestral Recall and Ponder on the same restricted list. Like, the power level's a bit muffed there.
Anyways, moving on, we have Modern Horizons 3, Bloomburrow, and Assassin's Creed. Just some thoughts, predictions, because they are the next 3 upcoming sets for Magic.
Absolutely. I think modern... Okay. So, gonna address the elephant in the room at first. I am not a huge fan of Wizards putting Modern in giant brackets above the set and then releasing premium Commander decks for that set. I don't care that the decks exist. I don't care that the decks are expensive. If you want the decks, buy them. If you don't want the decks, don't buy them. Commander does not belong in Modern products. Like, this commanderization of, like, the entire game. Like, I get it that it's Magic's big cash cow. Obviously, it's the most popular format. It sells the most singles by far. Not every single product needs to be a Commander product. There are people out there who don't play Commander, who genuinely just want to play, like, bleeding edge, competitive, constructed format Magic. There are legacy players, there are vintage players, there are modern players, there are standard players who don't care about the casual Commander format. So whenever you have a product that is dedicated to that audience, keep it dedicated to that audience. Don't insult them by saying, well, also, there's going to be a bunch of really good Commander staples in here, like Modern Legal Dockside Extortionist or some other absolute silliness.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't care that the decks exist, that's fine, whatever, but to put those in a Modern product, I feel is very insulting.
Yeah, that was the big, like, hey, congratulations, Modern players, here's the latest staples for your format. Also Commander decks.
Here's the biggest staples for your format. You will get 1 copy in the $150 Commander deck. You will need 4 copies. And then it's going to be True Name Nemesis, Dockside Extortionist all over again, where you're going to be buying $80 singles from a Commander deck because you need them for your Modern events. Because I can only assume, now this is all pure speculation, I can only assume that the Modern Horizons Commander decks will have Modern legal cards in them. So I'm assuming if they make functionally unique cards in the, because obviously they're gonna have like Soul Ring and stuff like that, and you can't have that in there. But if they make functionally unique cards for these decks, based on name alone, one would only assume that these cards would be Modern legal. And so if they do make the mistake of making a Dockside Extortionist, Hull Breacher, big dumb silly $80 single, it's gonna be atrocious for anybody who wants to play that, because it's gonna be pony up $320 or lose to the guy who paid $320 because he got the Orcish Bowmasters silly haha slam it on the table, I win the game card, and you didn't. And that's just always a feel bad. So I really hope that they don't do that. But given that this is a Modern product with Modern in big bold capital letters right on the top of it, I don't know how they're going to handle that. It's a train wreck as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, there's no good route they can approach that with.
Really, there's really not. They should have just released those decks as a side thing. They could have just even said 2024 Commander decks with no, like, you don't need a reason to release Commander decks. You can just throw them out willy-nilly and people will buy them. People will be like, a new 5-color Eldrazi deck. Done. I'm in. You got me. Nobody cares what product they're attached to. Like, you could be like, Bloomburrow's coming out, 5-color Eldrazi deck. Eldrazi players will be like, that is mine now. Like, nobody, you can literally release these at any time. So, again, to release them with a Modern product is very silly.
And now, moving on to the elephant's smaller brother, but still in the room. Of the many things that Modern Horizons 3 is bringing us, is so far we've seen the first of their free spell cycle. This time it's going to be sacrifice a non-token creature the corresponding color, so...
They did it. They did it. They made not broken free spells by making them awful.
I don't know about that.
Well, the only one I've seen is Cultivate.
Yeah.
And it's like, I will sacrifice into my green deck, presumably a mana dork, to go get 2 bases. Like, dope. I don't care about that at all. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see what the rest of it looks like. But like, what are they called? The force of, it's not force of something of cultivation. I love seeing that because I look at that and I'm like, that is stone cold unplayable.
Someone already posted, so turn 1 veteran explorer, sack it, get 4 basics.
That is such a niche use. Like, I don't think that deck is going to be like the be all end all.
Oh, I'm
but
not
like,
looking.
I do like that there are decks that are going to want it. It's good because, okay, so that exchange right there perfectly illustrates what I want to see in a free spell. It is a free spell that very certain decks, very niche decks will want. It's not a blanket, I'm just going to run this card because it is ubiquitously good. And I like that. That's the way free spells should be. So I really like this increased cost of, instead of a card from hand, it is a non-token. Thank you, Wizards, for putting non-token on the card. Makes me interested. I can only imagine that it would be like commons and uncommons from everything.
You could also pop a Dryad Arbor to that.
Yes.
I was like, wait, hold on.
It is a non-token. So, I mean, definitely some interesting play patterns that you can do there. Turn 1, land, green sun for 0, Dryad Arbor, sack Arbor, cultivate, and you just like get some get some goodness out there. Like there's definitely like design space for it, but it doesn't go everywhere. It's not like every single green deck ever runs 4 copies of this. It's not force of will, which is what I like. So whenever I come at these cards and I come at them very hard, it's because I'm comparing them to the ones we have. So your free spells need to be force of will, because like that's the bar, and it's been the bar for 25 years. The card's nuts. So like, I want to see cards that are lower than that. So seeing this card that can do cool things, and like, if your cool thing is you have 3 or 4 lands in play on turn 2, cool. I don't care. Like, if you do that play where you're turn 1 land, green sun, Dryad Arbor, go get 2 basics, and you're like, ooh, turn 2, Siege Rhino, haha, like, oh, okay, cool. Whatever.
Oh, God.
Like, neat.
No, stop. We don't need to turn 2 Rhino. Anyway.
And now, my boomer magic talking.
And now, the youngest sibling of the elephants in the room, they are giving us more Eldrazi cards in Modern Horizons 3.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see if they learned anything from last time. But unless they print a new Eye of Ugin level card that lets you play 3 Eldrazi a turn, I don't see Eldrazi making a huge comeback. Like, there'll probably be stuff for like maybe like Eldrazi Tron or, maybe some like green Eldrazi ramp shenanigans.
Yeah, I think the 2 they've shown off so far have been pretty like middle of the pack. Like, oh, it's a 3-drop that gives +1/+1 to colorless creatures, and they cost 1 less now. Like,
right.
Okay.
Like if the power level is like Matter Reshaper, Thought Knot Seer, cool. Like more utility dudes, nothing broken. But like they'd have to print something egregiously strong for me to start to get worried. Now the possibility is there that they could oopsies poopsies make a creature version, like a 5-mana creature version of Eye of Ugin, which would still like be a problem, because then you start drifting more into that Eldrazi winner. Like if they make too many good Eldrazi are very good. They are a very supported archetype, and they are very, very easy to play.
We're just gonna get a land like Ugin's other eye.
Right, Ugin's left eye. It's like with a little eye patch on it. It's just a big crystal eye patch on it. That'd be funny.
It's just Eye of Ugin, but now with their double mythic rarity.
Right, it's Eye of Ugin, but it taps for mana now.
Oh, God.
It also just taps for mana. But I think it's cool that they're giving a little more power to the deck, because it's not a super represented deck right now. So like them getting rid of Violent Outburst and printing this more stuff, you see more Eldrazi Tron decks, more Eldrazi tribal stuff, and I think that could be cool. But I really hope that they learn their lesson from last time, and playing stuff for almost free is very good.
Oh yeah. If Modern Horizons 3 turns into like hey, we're just gonna pick like the top 10 most played Modern decks and give them each a handful of support. Like, okay, cool.
Right.
Can we not have the Modern meta effectively shift when the set comes out and just be
like if it's a blanket thing like that, where they give a handful of decks, like here's support for, like, here's 2 or 3 burn cards, here's 2 or 3 control cards, here's some elf stuff, here's some Eldrazi stuff. Go out, fiddle with it, find out what you like, what you don't like. Here's some Tron support, some more stuff to help you get your Tron lands out, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Then it's cool. But if it's just, like, one-sided, like, here's 15 cards of playable Eldrazi support, that's when we're going to start running into some issues. Hopefully they don't do that anymore. Hopefully we have some balanced levels of support. I'd like to see more decks pop up, especially with the Violent Outburst being hit. See some more stuff pop up, but... reserve judgment till then.
We haven't gotten quite into spoiler season for Outlaws and Underdogs yet, but we'll be talking about those coming up soon. However, the Magic set after that is Bloomburrow. We are starting to see a handful of the spoilers of that set. They are, of course, all non-human creatures because Bloomburrow is a plane
that has no
humans.
Yeah, no humans.
Quite importantly to me, at least, means that for the first time since Modern became a thing, we are not going to get a set that gives support to the humans Modern deck.
Right, the 4-color humans, tribal, human prison. Human prison aggro control tempo.
Finally, I can check my Modern Discord server, and I won't have to see that one humans player go, does this go into humans?
Right, you just see the one dude with the 47th printing of Fiend Slayer. Like, does this go in there? It's an O-ring on a human. Yes, you play it. But as somebody who's huge into Redwall growing up, this set is huge for me. I love it. The art is adorable. The showcase frames that they showed are perfect. Yes. I am super looking forward to this set. I don't even care if it's good. The art's good. The plane itself is cool. I'm all in on it.
Yes. Yeah. I have high. I admittedly got my expectations pretty high for Bloomburrow.
Right.
So hopefully I won't be wounded.
Right. Look forward to seeing more stuff. More spoilers, hopefully find out like a direction of what the set wants to do. Obviously, like set specific mechanics and stuff like that. I wonder if any rats will be committing crimes.
They will be.
Oh, we're definitely getting rat support. If you went into this thinking that we're not getting another Relentless Rat, Colony Rat kind of card, this is an all animal set. We're getting a rat deck. There's gonna be some big dumb Rat King, like the Sewer Burglar or some dumb stuff, 6 mana, 6/6. It's gonna be Muxus for rats.
God.
Like you on play, reveal X cards where X is his power. His power is the number of rats you control. Play all the rats that are equal to or less than his power for free. So you just big dumb rat dude. I'm here for it. But I'm excited for the set.
Yes. And then our final little bit of upcoming Magic release news. We have seen the showcase frames out of the Assassin's Creed set. That are going to be giving us, obviously, the standard, like, extended arts, borderless alternate arts, but quite notably, this time the serialized cards are going to be in the original language of the characters, so Cleopatra was done in ancient Greek style.
Yeah, I as a product, I do not care for Assassin's Creed. I stopped playing the games at 2. I have no attachment to the series. I'm glad that this exists. I have a lot of mixed feelings that Fallout only got Commander decks and Assassin's Creed got a full set when I feel like it should have been the other way around. But neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about that. I think that them doing the showcase cards in the OG language is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yes.
So like if they end up pulling cards from Valhalla and you can have cards in Norse. Like that would be super cool. I really, really like that. I feel like them doing the alternate languages really does a lot for the collectability of these cards. Like the Soul Rings from Lord of the Rings being in Elvish added so much more desirability and collectability to the cards rather than just being like, here is a Soul Ring with a picture of a dwarf hand on it.
Yep.
Like, who cares? But these cards actually being in their original language is super cool.
Yes.
And then you get to watch people struggle to try to read cards, which is always fun. We love that moment.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, just looking at like various serialized releases where when the serial is just it's just an alternate art with a number on it.
Right.
They're a little pricey.
Some of them don't even get alternate arts, and it's just like here's just the dude with a 27 out of 500 on it. It's like that.
Whereas like an alternate art Da Vinci in Italian.
Right, exactly. Like, that's going to be so cool. Italian Da Vinci, we're going to have a bunch of, like, Arabic, Greek stuff. Like, from Valhalla, we'll have Norse stuff.
Yep.
I really hope if they pull from Black Flag or Unity and we have, like, English stuff, I really hope that the font is Old English.
I am admittedly kind of expecting, like, they're going to release all the cards or say everything, and then someone's going to be like, yeah, there's a typo in the Norse one. That's the wrong rune.
You already know, like, day one, people are going to be on Reddit. Actually, you used the wrong syntax. And that's not what that says. That's not how we talk. And it's like, dude, shut up. My only desire for the Assassin's Creed set has been, since its announcement, that they print a card simply called the Pope, so I can cast murder, targeting the Pope. That's really all I want. And I want the Pope Mobile. I know it's not in the right time frame for that, but having the Pope Mobile be a vehicle that only the Pope can crew would be the biggest flavor win of all time.
Speaking of Reddit, our next story is coming from Reddit.
Absolutely. So, turns out that if you were getting card shipped to you from the Texas area, small chance that they might have had a little run-in with fire, turns out.
I'm going to make sure that our editor Mike can get these photos on stream, because these are something to look at, to say the least.
Right. So apparently, a gentleman had ordered some cards, and whenever he received them, the wrapping, like the bubble wrap packaging that it had received in, was warped and melted. And he pulled it out, and the perfect fit that the card was in was coal black.
Yep.
Just completely covered in soot. Nobody knows why. There's no reasonable answer. What were the excuses they gave? I know one of them was wildfires.
Yep.
The USPS man bravely stormed through the wildfire to bring this man his card.
Yep. Yeah, one of the comments was someone from, I want to say, like, text there saying, like, yeah, we've got, like, bushfires going on right now, so it might have been stuck in, like, a truck or something next to a fire.
Right. I don't know.
The most popular theory right now, which a couple of people have now jumped in on, is it probably got stuck in a sorting machine where, like, the wheel friction just kept grinding away until it heated up and melted the top loader.
Right. Like, that, it's just so crazy to me. Yep. But luckily, from what we can see of the screenshots, the cards themselves are fine.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm correctly, the user did say that, like, the foil stamp is a little messed up, like it kind of warped and, well, melted.
Right. Well, people love misprints.
I guess
the one-of-one melted card.
Is he going to be able to do the My Valentine thing from Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you can smell the card coming up because of, like, the smoke?
Every time he's about to draw the card, he's thinking he's going to have a stroke because he smells burning. He's like, what's that?
Am I dying, or am I about to draw my Flame of Anor?
Right. Nice little funny story for you there.
Moving on past that, now bring up Thunder Junction. Somebody managed to get their hands on a pre-release kit way too early.
Just a smidge. Just a little bit.
The Pinkertons have declined comment on if Wizards has reached out to them yet, but
they are on their way.
At least now we know all the set mechanics.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, really, like, from what we've seen, we see pictures of 2 kits being opened, and both kits have the new showcase cards in. One showcase card in them. I like that. I like having showcase cards in the pre-release kits. I'm just a sucker for alt arts, though, so I'm always going to be about that life. So what do we got for mechanics on this, Nick?
So the big one that a lot of people are confused about, because it was originally shown on the Fibbleflip during MagicCon, I want to say, was plot.
Okay.
Plot is now, you may pay the plot cost, exile it from your hand, face up, and cast it on a later turn for free at sorcery speed.
So, foretell, but better and at sorcery speed.
Yes.
Better but worse. Better, free, worse, sorcery speed.
Also worse, your opponent knows what
knows what's coming. I think that's fine.
Yep.
Because it gives them time to appropriately gauge a response. Like, I am going to suspend this bolt, or like some type of red removal spell, and you're like, oh well, I just have to play around that now, and I'll just play 2 or 3 bodies on this turn, or I'll just all in on this one really big guy so he can't remove it with his blowout spell or whatever. Like, since it's sorcery speed, I feel like they'll be able to make the cards a little bit more powerful, which is cool. So like, you know, I do look forward to seeing some like powerful removal spells, board wipes, like maybe like a 3 mana board wipe. You pay 3, get rid of it, and on a later turn you play it or whatever. Like, it'll be your typical, every set has it, 4 or 5 mana Wrath, blow up all dudes, gain life. Who cares? Make whatever unique token this set cares about, tumbleweed tokens or whatever.
That is exactly what a lot of people's response when it was shown was like, oh, so this, sure, it might not be as powerful as Foretell where you've got like a discounted cost and hit information, but like now you can start mind gaming your opponent.
Right, because like even like if you set a Wrath off to the side and you're like, I have that for free for the rest of this game going forward, that fundamentally changes the way you're interacting with your opponent, because it's going to stop them from overextending on their board. So you have to make them make a choice of, do you make a big commitment and go into a big haste duder turn where I swing turn 4 dude sideways and then you Wrath and I hope that you can't stabilize before I can rebuild a board, or like I said earlier, they just like all in on like one big indestructible dude or a guy that gets around the removal or whatever. So I like it. I like cards that enforce engagement. And cards like this being face up, I feel like it is going to push for engagement. And you're gonna be like, I have this thing. Like, let's say like you're the aggro deck. You're like, I'm gonna pay 4 and I'm gonna discount this big dumb 8/8 dude that's gonna have haste the turn he comes in. You know he's coming. So you're gonna need your counter spell, bounce spell, removal spell, whatever, ready for the turn that I drop him on you. Because he's gonna come out and, you know, it's gonna be this big blowout turn. So I like that both, like, I can see both ends of the spectrum enjoying this mechanic. It's not just gonna be like control players rejoice. And I think that any card that you tell your opponent, Jace the Mind Sculptor, this is here, this is a thing you have to deal with, we are now playing this interaction game. Like anything like that, I enjoy those types of mechanics. I hate mechanics that you just have to ignore and like can't interact with, like experience counters or emblems, stuff like I don't have a problem with them per se, but they're not fun mechanics to engage with.
Yes.
Because you can't do anything. Like if your opponent's playing Infect and it's just like, so I just have to stop you from hitting me for 10 damage, and then that's, you know, that's like the whole game plan. Like that's not an interactive thing. Like, and decks like that need to exist, and I get it, but I'm glad to see interaction mechanics where it's like, I get to see this thing, you get to see this thing, we both get to change the way we play the game around this new information that's been revealed. I like that.
Yep. I'm eagerly awaiting just like, if I do enjoy the mechanics, all right, I'm gonna play Storm and just lay out my entire combo in order. It's like, all right, this is happening. Do you have a counter spell?
I really hope that we get like just like pay 2 and a blue, exile a card off to the side, and it's just Gitaxian Pro. Like it's just look at your opponent's hand, draw a card, and then your opponent goes, get rid of one of those, get rid of one of those, get rid of one of those, get rid of one of those. Or, I am ready to kill you now. Are you ready?
Plot is sorcery speed, so that is
right. So it's just like, so you go on the turn, you pop off, and you're like, I will activate the first one, responses. Yep. I will activate the second one, responses. Meanwhile, you just got your little spin down over there, and you're just ticking it up.
Yep.
Storm count 2, storm count 3. Ooh, you interacted with me. Storm count 5. Gotcha. I hope that they do not print a card that lets you do that for any card.
Thubblethub already says you can plot off the top of your library.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so it's random. It's random at least. Like, if you could just like pick, I mean, obviously you can manipulate it to the top of your deck, but it's way more random than just a card in your hand, because certain cards were not meant to be cast for free. Looking at you, Craterhoof Behemoth, stop getting cast for free, pay your mana. Green players always dodging them taxes.
Moving past that, the second mechanic that we've now been able to see that wasn't originally shown off is Saddle. It is a new kind of vehicle, basically.
Okay.
It'll have like it'll be like saddle, not salad, saddle 2, or you tap down creatures with power or 2 or more.
Okay.
And then the creature is now considered saddled.
Okay.
So far, all the ones that we saw in the previous kit have just had, like, when this creature attacks, if it's saddled, it gets +2/+2, or when this creature attacks, if it's saddled, double the number of +1/+1 counters on a creature, things like that.
So vehicles that don't have to be crewed to be creatures.
Yep.
These are just creatures with upside if you crew them.
Precisely.
Okay. So like Smuggler's Copter that doesn't get to loot on swing unless you do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. Seems like a cool mechanic. It'll definitely be fun and limited at least.
Yep.
Because it'll push for cool board states where you just have like a bunch of saddle creatures and just like force weird blocks and interactions and stuff like that. I'm about that.
Yeah, it's akin to, I'm blanking on the name of the mechanic out of Dominaria, where again, it was like whenever this creature attacks, you may tap a thing down if you do some other effect.
Yeah, bonus effect, yeah.
Yep.
I'm fine with that.
So yeah, that's fine.
It seems like a harmless mechanic. I can't wait to see how they fumble that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it'll happen.
And then also in the previous kit, we are getting the return of deserts. This time, it is a common or uncommon cycle of dual land deserts that when they enter, they deal a damage to an opponent.
Okay, that seems fine. Like, this is the set to do deserts, because Old West. And I think that, are these our first dual deserts?
Yes.
So, cool. More support for the desert decks. The commander players rejoice.
Yeah, Haze is on tomorrow. Congratulations, you have more support.
Right. Yep. Like, I think it's cool. Like, it's not going to be Ramana Ruins, so nobody's going to care.
Yep.
As long as it's not that level of power, it's cool. Yeah. I'm glad. Insert arbitrary common, uncommon land cycle nobody cares about.
I mean, it's the, the natural evolution of the enters tapped gains you a life. Now it's...
Yeah, the old Shivan Gorge.
And now, finally, this is a story that I've been following a little bit closely because... Okay. First off, it is a mess. But secondly, it does involve people who I know personally, so I have a little bit of skin in this game.
Well, let's go.
But the short version is there's been a new convention that's popped up over the last couple of years called TCG Con.
Okay.
The person who wrote this story is alleging that TCG Con is severely in debt and is currently missed out on a lot of payments.
Ooh.
Yep.
So, kind of like E3, kind of.
Like, currently at the moment, the writer alleges that they owe upwards of $50,000 to judges, staff, cosplayers, content creators who have attended their events.
Ooh, that's rough.
They've only run about 10 to 15 conventions since 2021. And this comes from someone who was the lead judge at TCG Con in Houston.
Okay.
So, someone who was actually at the event, who this is not...
Right, this is first-hand accounts, not he just Reddit hearsay.
Yep.
This is actual first-hand stuff. Okay.
This is yeah.
Quick way to shoot yourself in the foot and lose a lot of following. Like, you can't not support the people that are supporting you.
Yes. Yeah. To start us off, because this does go in chronological order, initially in TCG Con in Toledo, October 2021, they'd advertised a Magic 5K. However, after round 1 had started and players already begun playing, they announced that there was going to be a change in pricing due to low attendance, to the point where the top 5th through 8th place would not even make enough to make their entry fees back.
That's ridiculous.
Following that, at the same event, they had a Yu-Gi-Oh! Event where the players were properly compensated, but they had promised like winner playmats, which Yu-Gi-Oh! Players never received. Which, this is going to be a bit of a recurring theme as I go through this.
Right. I'd be so mad, like if I lived in Philly.
Yep. Following that,
and I flew out to Houston for this 5K, and like I'm in my top 8. I'm like, cool. You know, I'm at least going to be able to pay for, getting my stuff out here. And they're like, actually, no. You get nothing. You get $20. Here you go.
And then following that up, TCGCon Houston 2023, there was a website bug which was making it look like more players had signed up to an event than there actually were, which again caused more issues where players were expecting a much higher price pool than there actually was.
Right. Or the inverse, like if they could have had something like that, and then they end up having too many people sign up and people miss out on going to the event because their events are showing full and they're not. Like, both sides of that are atrocious.
And then Indianapolis of the same year, they had advertised a championship belt for the winner of their main Magic event. They never were given a belt, and it's believed that the belt was never even made in the first place for this event.
Most of these seem like very simple fixes of just do the thing that you promised. Like, none of these seem like they are, like, reasonable to deny the players. Like, these all seem like completely within their power to have done these things, and they're just not doing it for whatever reason. That's crazy to me, because I was expecting some, like, big outlandish, like, Ponzi scheme kind of. These guys just kind of...
Oh, no, it gets worse.
Oh, let's go.
That's during that same time, a vendor made a claim that TCG Con had purchased $2,300 of Pokemon product from them, which they never paid the invoice for.
Oh.
Then in Denver, May of 2023, the judges were not paid at all for the Magic event, as well as the first and second place prizes were only paid, and the players who placed after that were given like PayPal and Venmo information, but never received the money.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
How scummy can you get?
Yeah.
Where you steal $2,300 worth of
and then
Pokemon product, and then you're on top of stealing this product, you're also not paying your workers.
Yep. And then he makes the note that July 18th of that year, the judges were finally sent about half of what they were owed after they started making threats of legal action.
That's crazy.
Moving on to TCG Con in Buffalo, ended up being canceled due to, undisclosed reasons. But they promised vendors that they would reimburse them for their deposits because obviously the event was canceled.
Right.
And several vendors claimed they were never sent the money back, and they had to open a case with PayPal to finally get their deposits again.
That's crazy. They had to go that far for something that didn't even happen.
Yep, there we go. The next event that happened was TCG Con in Tampa, which he does note that they were ran without a hitch, ran smoothly as well as a convention can run.
Color me surprised.
With the exception of one person, one player who claims that they did not have PayPal or Venmo, and the staff never sent them a check after they gave them the address to mail them a check. But so far, considering their track record, that
seems like the most harmless. Yep. That's definitely one guy not getting a check is.
And now we get into TCG Con Houston 2024 in February.
Oh boy, lay it on me.
They advertised a CEDH tournament. The first place winner of the CEDH tournament would win a Light Plate Unlimited Time Twister and a winner's playmat. Second place would get a Light Plate Unlimited Underground Sea and Volcanic Island and a runner-up playmat.
Oh yeah, dude, I love going to a CEDH tournament and getting promised a $12,000 card.
Third place was going to receive a Light Plate Unlimited Volcanic Island and Tropical Island.
Okay.
Fourth place gets a Light Plate Unlimited Tropical Island Bio. Fifth through eighth both got Unlimited Birds of Paradise in a top 8 playmat, and then 9th through 16th got Light Plate Unlimited Soul Rings. So,
dope. That's amazing prize support. Like, if I saw an event like that was like in Chicago or something, I'd make the drive out there. That's awesome.
Yep. However, the actual prizing of the event turned out to be a moderate to heavily played Time Twister from Unlimited, 2 Dual Lands, about 2 or 3 Soul Rings, and 2 Birds of Paradise.
Yikes. I'm honestly shocked that they had the Time Twister at all.
TCG Con claims that the vendor that was responsible for bringing the prizes backed out last minute without any warning, and they had to run to all the other vendors at the convention, check with them to see if they could get any of the other prizes.
Bolster the prize pool.
Several of the vendors that were reached out to for comments stated that, to their knowledge, TCG Con never asked them anything about the dual lands, and they may have been making that up.
It's crazy that they would so blatantly and hastily throw out this response that can be so easily thwarted by just asking the official vendors. Well, I didn't do that. Craig did that. Craig, did you do that? No. Nobody saw me happen. You know, all of the thousands of people that were here, nobody saw these questions get asked. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, it's just so crazy that they immediately jumped to this thing and everybody else is like, no, that didn't happen at all, actually.
And then a direct quote now from the article.
Okay.
This did not fully solve the issue for the players either, as the tournament manager's dual lands... Oh, sorry, I forgot. I skipped over bullet points.
Okay.
TCG Con's solution for the missing prize support was for the tournament manager of the event to go to their personal collection and pull out cards to use as prizes. Here we go. This did not fully solve the issue for the players either, as the tournament manager's duels were mostly heavily played, and some of them were revised rather than limited, making them worth significantly less than advertised. The second through fourth place of the CDH event ended up splitting the non-time twister prizes, and they were told they could get cash instead of the duels. But the cash value they were offered was based on the heavily played mixed revised/unlimited prices, not the light played unlimited prices. And only one of the three players actually got paid this cash. The other two were told they'd be paid later, and they never were. So one player got a moderate to heavily played time twister when they should have gotten a light played one. One player got $750 when they should have gotten $2,000, and the other two players should have gotten $2,000 when they got $0.
That's actual insanity. That is so much cutting and underhanding your players.
The tournament manager has also not been reimbursed yet for the cards they used out of their personal collection because they were promised by TCG Con that they were going to be...
I feel bad for the tournament runner because like he was forced to dip into his own stuff and then nothing for that for a problem that was not of his making.
Yep. And then at the same event, the Modern and Legacy events were also not paid out, so about $2,000 in prizes for those events has still not been reimbursed.
So far we're, what, 2, 4, 6, like $8K in the hole on this one con? Good lord.
There are other events such as Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Card Vanguard did not get paid out either. The only tournament they ran was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Event Saturday that did get prizes.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Just throwing darts at the board and just like who gets the prizes, who doesn't.
And then the writer also reached out to several content creators and cosplayers for the event as well to ask if they had been reimbursed like they've been promised, but they have not commented at this time.
Fair. I'm willing to assume no, given the track record here.
And also, now that the author does make the note that from everyone who has spoken to an interview about the story, he overwhelmingly gets the feeling that this is not malicious. It's not they're attempting to scam people. It was a group of friends who got into this for love of the game and just didn't realize the amount of work.
They got in way over their head.
That it feels like...
I'm going to open a card shop, and it's going to be super chill and easy, and then you realize that it is awful and stressful, and you're going to lose a lot of money at first, and you got to, do all of these 17 steps before you get to be Gen Con.
Yep. At the time, currently, TCG Con is in talks with other companies to potentially be purchased by them to try and alleviate some of this.
Just get absorbed.
Yep.
That's honestly, I think, the best way out for them. If it is just like a group of dudes who are like, we want to do a cool thing, and it's not malicious, if that is true, I honestly hope they do get absorbed and they just kind of get like...
Yes, reading through the whole story, because I did have to kind of quickly annotate it as it was, I believe, like 15 pages long.
Right.
It really does seem like this is just the CEO of TCG Con. He wanted to run tournaments. He had good ideas. He didn't realize the amount of capital you need to make something like that happen.
Right.
Realistically, as was pointed out in the article, that very likely what one of the issues may be is convention centers are not cheap. So he is having to put the money up front for the convention center and then hope he gets enough registrations to be able to cover the prize support.
Right. Like, for example, if he goes into a con with like $60,000 there, and then the convention center's like, yeah, we want 35 of that.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, all of my money is gone.
Yep.
So now I have to distribute all of these different events with all of this money, and I have to pay all these vendors, and I have to pay all of these performers, and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I could see that being the case. Like, he went into it with a chunk of change, and then they were like, this is actually way more expensive than you thought.
Yep. The equipment you need, obviously the table space, you have staff you have to pay for, likely food's involved. Like,
right.
And again, this is a very new, like, they've only been around for about 3 years now, so they're still...
It definitely doesn't sound malicious based on what you were saying, because it seems like a lot of, like, we want to have this thing, but I could see for some of the vendors, like, they don't have the credit or herewithal, so, like, some of the vendors might have been like, this might just be a bogus order because this dude just bought a time twister and all this other nonsense and wants it delivered to this like giant convention center, so we're just not gonna mess with that. Or like any number of things could have happened. So I hope it's not malicious. I hope it's just a big old bundle of oopsie daisies and they do get to bounce back from it and still participate. Like if they do get absorbed, I hope they all get to like still be a part of the process, because if that's what they wanted originally was just to like create a fun space for people to play games and offer cool prizes so that people could get together and do the thing. Like, I really hope that they get to continue to do that.
It's always sad when like the tournament scene dies out. So hopefully either they kind of figure out what they need to do, or or they are bought out and a larger company is able to step in and take the ideas that they've created and be able to bring the money to make it a reality.
It. Yeah, that would be the best case scenario, because I would like to see more conventions, especially something as generic as TCG Con, because then, you know, Digimon, the new Star Wars Unlimited card game, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, One Piece, like anybody can go there if they want to have a proper following, and it's not just like a game specific con. We need more of those. We need more of me and my 5 buddies who all play different games are going to go to the convention, and we are all going to have the same amount of fun because we are all going to get to go, and we're all going to get to do the thing we like to do the most.
Yeah, goodbye voice. there was a TCG Con in Indianapolis last year, and that was exactly, a lot of people from the area obviously went to it. And for the most part, they just said, like, yeah, it was cool because, like, I got to play Magic, my friend was playing Pokemon, my daughter was playing Lorcana, my other friend was in the One Piece side of it. Like,
exactly.
There was a game for everyone, so you weren't just like, hey, I'm going to the Magic Con where I'm going to play Commander and my partner who doesn't like Magic is going to
sit in the cafe for 3 hours. Yeah, that would be rough. So hopefully they do get to bounce back from this.
Yeah, hopefully. For now, it's certainly a warning to be cautious about
absolutely
attending TCG Con.
This is going to do massive damage to their reputation, for sure. Because if it was like a one-time thing, where like if Houston was the only thing they did, like where something had gone wrong and they had all those other events and it had gone right, and then Houston was like the one really big oopsie. Like, you know, like then it's fine because it was a rogue event. You know, like it was one event, things fell through, things happened. But the fact that it was several events in a row, I personally would not go.
Yeah.
Like if my buddy was like, hey, yeah, we're going to go to TCG Con, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to the shop on Saturday and chill and hang out with the homies.
If you attended a TCG Con, and we'd love to hear what your experiences were at it.
Absolutely. Hopefully they were good.
But I'll say I do believe that now concludes us for today.
Absolutely.
There's always going to be more Magic news to...
Right. Hopefully next time we have more spoilers, more Bloomborough stuff.
More Bloomborough, we're waiting for you.
Right. Also, quick aside, a little quick aside. So we got to see some art from some of the story panels, and we got Cowboy Rakdos, and I don't know if that excites y'all as much as it excites me, but my body is ready for Cowboy Rakdos. I'm so ready for what, I don't even care what the card says. I need Rakdos on a tiny little horse, Radon style. I really need it. I can't wait to saddle up the Brushwag with Rakdos and ride a little tumbleweed, Looney Tunes style. I'm so ready for this. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you around next time.